Oh my goodness, it's finally working. I've been trying to go live and the internet's. Hopefully it works throughout. Welcome guys, Nika here with your daily neuro nugget. That being said, this is going to be a pretty short video. Let me know. Make sure to vote in the chat. Some of you guys um, are saying that I should go back to what I used to do like a year ago, which is the shorter videos, 15-minute videos. Let me know if that's what you prefer. A lot of you have said you like the longer lives. What do you guys want? Vote. Let me know what you prefer, because I've had complaints of both. So let me know what you want, guys. Now, I wanted to, again, I know you see the title, babe. Welcome, family. 5 of you in here. There should be 5 likes, right? Hey, Nadine. Hey, Nadine. Hey, Popeye Gravy. Hey, Joanne. Hey, Blake. I like the longer. Thank you, Blake, for letting me know what you like. You like the longer. 1 vote so far. That being said, I wanted to talk about the pew pew. We've all seen the footage. There's all this new footage. Thank you so much for the kind comments, Nadine. I love green. And I want to talk about the pew pew. Let's talk about the pew pew, right? Because we've seen the footage. We have seen that flash on the first floor, on that window. That is a very bright light. Despite the footage being late at night, we know it's black and white, we can still see that, okay? I know a lot of you guys have asked me for a long time to talk about this, so here we are talking about this. When you have seen this footage and you see that light again, I will post the video or the thumbnail. I'll put the picture in the thumbnail so you guys can refer to that. It's really bright. And of course, we're talking about possibly the theory of a pew pew. And I've talked about this in the past briefly, and I mentioned that it was my theory that it was most definitely a pew pew. And now that we can actually hear the footage, there is most definitely a very loud popping sound that matches up with the video when it is playing. We see the light and we can also hear it. What I personally find very interesting is that one of the very first early rumors was that Kaylee had been pew-pewed. Hello, Carol. Hello, Pokey Mama. Pokey Mama, why was your message deleted by YouTube? I don't know why that happened. Hello, Carolyn. Hello, Linda. Hello, Love. Clouds99. Hey, Rise. Hey, Dolores Marquez. Hey, Wolfie. Hey, Blake. Hope you're doing okay. Is everything okay? Hey, Linda. Hey, Smilla. What was the early rumor? That Kaylee had been pew-pewed, right? Right? And Nadine is reminding us when they went to question the people by the apartments and asked her, "Did you hear anything strange?" The lady said what? Said what? Like a gunshot. Interesting. We have a flash, a bright flash in the middle of the dark night, and we hear a loud boom. What else would it be? What else could it possibly be? Because a lot of people in the early days had also theorized that it was a taser. But we all know here, we're all smart, a high IQ family, right? We know that you can't hear a taser like that, especially inside someone's home, even if they were standing right by the same window, right? So I think that the footage, the camera, the Ring camera at 1112 King Road is no way going to pick up a taser sound. But if it was a weapon, a pew pew, it's very likely that the Ring cam is going to pick up that noise, right? We all know, a lot of us here have maybe played with a pew pew, and it's really loud. It's really loud. And if you've ever shot a pew pew near you, you know you have to wear hearing protection, because if you shoot it without, guess what? You can really damage your ears. It's so loud, right? It's so loud. By the way, we're drinking coffee here, black coffee for me. Well, black coffee with a bunch of sugar, right? So trying to trigger people, right, Elaine? Pew pews are very loud. So my personal theory as to what is going on in this window right there is that somebody fired a pew pew. We don't know if they fired it at somebody, if they fired at a wall, if they fired at the ceiling. We don't know. Did they do it to try to scare someone? But in my opinion, this is what makes the most sense, the pew pew. And not only that, but it also makes sense because, again, when we hear the early rumors regarding Kaylee being maybe attacked by a pew pew, well, there's always some truth typically to the rumors. So, isn't that interesting? And I wanted to share this because why would 1122 King Road have pew pews going off on the same night that a quadruple homicide is taking place? Right? What is going on inside of 1122 King Road? Who inside of 1122 King Road has a pew pew? Why would anyone inside 1122 King Road choose to fire a pew pew? And who are they firing a pew pew at? By the way, did they ever find any evidence pointing to a pew pew being fired? I personally think that it is all connected. I find it odd that it's never been really talked about by law enforcement. We have this footage, we have this loud bang, and we have this bright flash of light. I find that this is very clear as day. And then on top of that, we have people that are running out of the front door. It looks like they're chasing people out. It's concerning. It's very concerning. What in the hell is going on in this neighborhood? I personally think after seeing this very vivid flash of light, very clear flash of light, that all of the neighbors knew. And again, when we go back to the footage, when the neighbors are being questioned, when they're being interviewed, they all seem extremely nervous. And allegedly, they didn't know what had taken place at 1122 King Road yet. So why are you so freaked out? Why are you panicking so much? I think all of the neighbors knew what was going on. What is crazy to me is that the cops have been called before when they would have house parties due to noise complaints. Yet nobody heard a thing. Nobody called the night that this happened. Everything was quiet. Wow. I find it very interesting that everything was quiet, especially considering that the 1112 King Road camera picked up a loud fucking boom. The loudest boom. We can all hear it in the footage. We can all see the flash. We were not born yesterday. What was happening inside of that house? I am not buying it. I know you guys are more intelligent than most people out there. I know you guys aren't buying it. That really there was no noise. I also find it extremely strange that none of the parents go to see their children. I don't care if you tell me that my child is unrecognizable. I'm going to go see my child because it's the only way I will get closure. And here we have parents, not one of them is going to see their child. Oh, but he was in the emergency room. I'm sorry. For a rash? Was it a rash? Steve, what was it again? I know I'm being harsh. I know maybe I'm Nika, but you wouldn't know unless you were in that situation. I think we all know. I think we all know that even if we had to be in the ER because we had a rash or what have you, we're still going to drive as soon as possible to get to where we just heard that our daughter was allegedly pew-pewed, allegedly in the face. You're going to be driving there no matter what, right? That's what most people, that's what most parents would do. We know that Bethany said that she heard a cracker and a flash of light, right? Muzzle flash suppressors, they are all about what? Flash and pops, which in my opinion could also explain some of the orange light that Bethany Punk saw. I don't think it was a firecracker. I think if it had been a firecracker, there would have been some damage to the walls. There would have been a firecracker remains, obviously. But a muzzle flash suppressor, it's all flash and pop, baby. It's all flash and pop. And a lot of you guys are fairly new to the channel. Maybe some of you are even fairly new to this case. But years ago, when I started this channel, I had talked about the film students. Do you guys remember the film students who had the whole tripod set up behind the house during the whole thing? I did not forget that. How convenient. Do you guys remember that? Because you would think that that would be an evidence, right? This video, if there are film students who had a whole tripod set up behind the house and they're literally filming, okay, where is that video? That should be evidence video number 1. That being said, I'm not positive. I cannot authenticate what I'm going to say next, but I do recall reading somewhere that somebody had stole it when it was still out on the tripod. And again, it's like, of course, how convenient. You have these people that are like, happen to be right behind the house recording what's going on. They're film students, and then the video magically disappears. Huh. Interesting how that works. Interesting how that works. But the reason I believe this was a pew-pew was because when we go back to the first cop's body cam, about 20 minutes in or so, we hear a lieutenant that is telling him to look for bullet casings. Right? Did you guys catch that? Did you guys catch the lieutenant telling him to look for bullet casings? You typically don't walk into a crime scene looking for bullet casings if you think that these people were K-barred to death. You would enter a crime scene and ask your lieutenant to look for bullet casings if you have reason to believe that bullets were utilized. Right? People have also theorized that this could maybe be a beanbag gun, which would be considered tactical gear, such as those that are owned by the cop that was rumored to have been dating Kaylee secretly, right? Officer Rosenthal, I have not forgotten about you, sir. No, sir. I have not forgotten about you because we know you were married and you had a baby. I think this pew-pew theory makes the most sense. Again, we have an officer telling another officer to look for bullet casings. The timing of the flash, the timing of the sound, the fact that this all took place on the same night when a quadruple homicide was taking place, it makes the most sense that it's all connected. We also have people disappearing from the frame. Why is everything so redacted and blurred? Why is the audio jumbled? We can hear much more clearly down the lane than up this close. Because we've seen different types of footage, right? From different angles, we've heard different noises. How is it that we can hear much more clearly from Linda Lane than up this close right next to the house, right? We should be able to see some silhouettes in the windows so clearly. And why is it that we can barely see anything? This should piss all of us off a lot, right? And if that house had nothing to do with it, then why are we redacting it and making people disappear? Why are we blurring trees? What in the world is going on in Moscow? What in the world is going on in Moscow? Rise. If that was my child, Steve would have been sitting in the ER with that rash alone. LOL. Exactly. Exactly. We get it. You get it. Nika, do you watch Pav's videos? I haven't in a very long time. I haven't watched a lot of people's videos, short on time. Most people that are still talking about the Idaho 4 are pretty spot on. I think we're all pretty spot on on what we know what happened. Um, um, Jules, Truth and Transparency, Kent, cover up from the go. Frat covers frat. All in power are frat. Of course they are. I want to know who lives in the house. There's way too much activity there. This is absolutely insane. I also found it interesting that they mentioned Brian Koberger having a pew pew at his house, right? The whole thing is insane. And then we have girls from the filming house running to Pew House in the morning. Okay, that's insane. That on its own is insane. I am speechless. And it's crazy because at this point, talking about this case 3 years in, I didn't think I was going to be surprised by what comes out. Again, we had already in the early days theorized about a pew pew being utilized. But now that we have this very clear footage, and the fact that we are still here sitting speechless, surprised about what is coming out basically on a daily basis regarding this case, it's like this is bizarre. This is bizarre. And I know people have said that the light pattern alone rules out a firearm. I don't think so. I've been around a lot of hunters, a lot of family. You know, I grew up with people that were hunting and handling weapons. I was also prior active duty military. And I think this is a weapon. Some other military members have reached out to me and said that they don't think that this is a pew pew, that they think this is maybe something else. But I don't think it is somebody taking a picture. I've had people tell me this is somebody taking a picture from the window. I personally don't think that someone taking a picture from the window would be that bright, and taking a picture would not explain the sound. I think that sound is the sound of a round being fired from a distance. I think this is the flash that Bethany Funk said that she saw. But those are my theories. Those are my opinions. Let me know your thoughts on this flash. Let me know in the chat if you have watched this footage yourself. Let me know. Do you think that flash was a firework? A pew pew? And just a thought on a flash and pop, right? My opinion, but also what Google says. A silencer, aka a suppressor, reduces the pew pew noise by slowly reducing the gases that are escaped, right? But a noticeable pop and flash, especially on the first round, occurs because oxygen inside the can ignites with hot gases. creating a secondary combustion. Who's out there? And then the pew pew's mechanical action is still going to make a sound, leading to maybe a softer noise instead of a massive bang. So, in my opinion, from what we can hear, this is a very loud bang. It's hard to judge by the distance, but it still could have been a firearm with a suppressor. Maybe that is not why. Maybe that's why it doesn't sound louder than it should. Was this like a pew pew with a suppressor? I don't know. I don't know. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this video, on the flash, on the bang. Was it a pew pew? Was it a firecracker? Was it a pew pew with a silencer? What was it? But the fact that we have all this activity going on and the fact that everyone to this day is saying that nothing was going on is concerning, is very concerning. The fact that everyone involved with the victims, indirectly or directly, the fact that they're saying we had no idea. This was the most eerie, the most quiet night in Moscow. We had no idea to what was going on. So, thank you guys for joining me in today's video. Have a wonderful night and see you soon, guys. Take care. Bye bye.